want to talk some more about the iconic master set that is supposed to release this November, later this year. And apparently, everybody knows Modern Masters 2017 sold incredibly well, and they printed enough of it this time around that it didn't have the whole fiasco that what was it, Eternal Masters had. It was a complete freaking nightmare, and everybody hated Eternal Masters. Now Modern Masters 2017 happened, and everybody loves all the nice reprints. They got a lot of good cards. A lot of people wanted the fetch lands to get reprinted, all that jazz. And so now Wizards, they're trying to make as much money as possible with iconic masters, and I can't blame them. Everybody loves reprints, and they love reprints for Modern. They love getting good value cards. So when you say iconic masters, now you're talking about, reserve list cards. But of course they're not going to reprint anything on the reserve list. That made a lot of people upset. So now all we can do now is speculate, what do they mean by memorable, iconic, that kind of stuff? What can they possibly mean? And some people have told me, what about Imperial Seal? What about some of these other cards that aren't on the reserve list? They're extremely expensive, but they can technically reprint them, even though it wouldn't make any sense, because I think a lot of the cards that they could reprint, they probably won't. I think Mana Drain's another one of them too, that is borderline $200, if not exactly $200. Do I think they're going to do something like that? Probably not. And if they do, they're just going to put in one card that's around the $200 mark. I don't actually see them even doing that, because of all the shit that happened with Eternal Masters. I don't think people are willing to risk, I don't think Wizards, they're willing to risk losing or upsetting players that actually have these cards, because they're just going to lose a lot of value. Because across the board, with the exception of Snapcaster and Liliana, all the cards just tanked in price. The fetches they're pretty much in that onslaught range of fetch lands, and Damnation, at least the reprint version, is $17 right now, which is ridiculous, because it wasn't that long ago when people were complaining about Damnation being a $60 card, and I think I got it when it's $60. So I'm a little bit upset about that, but not too much. I mean, I can understand reprinting the card. It needed to get reprinted, but we were always wondering when they were going to do it, so much that we pretty much had, guessed, okay, they're not going to do it. So now we're just speculating, what cards are they going to reprint? My guess is Crucible of Worlds is a pretty nice card to reprint, and it would make sense if they did it, because that's a card that people are complaining is way too expensive, but it's a necessity for pretty much any deck, whether it's Modern, Legacy. If it has, fetch lands in it, it's a big card to reprint. It sees play even in Commander. It's such an important card, and it would make sense because the card's $60 right now, kind of where Damnation was before. And also, I think Karn could use another reprint, although that would probably tank the price too. There's just so many good cards that they could reprint that I think people are afraid for them to actually do it, because the cards went down, but they went down too much in Modern Masters 2017. I'm not saying that I absolutely would hate for them to do this, but if you want to make a good set without it kind of watering down and becoming here's another master set that's coming out twice a year now. They're coming out way too frequently now. Before you know it, they're just going to be coming, out 3 times a year, 4 times a year. Anything for Wizards to make more money. Because basically with the reserve list, they pretty much admit they're going to let Legacy die off, and it's going to go away. Modern is pretty much going to become the new Legacy, and they're going to be able to do what they should have done from the very beginning, is never make another reserve list. So it's pretty much going to be 2 different types of people: the hardcore collectors that have all these old school vintage cards. They have all, Legacy too, and just Eternal formats all around. They have all those cards, and they're probably not going to play with them because they're probably going to get super expensive, and it's going to make Commander a little bit more expensive to play, but not too much. And that's pretty much going to be the division right there. You have the Eternal formats, and then you have Modern and Standard, or even Frontier in between those two. Whatever happens with Frontier, I hope it works out. I've made some investments as far as Frontier is concerned, and I really want that format to succeed. But I think Iconic Masters is pretty much proof that they're willing to reprint the hell out of any card that isn't on the reserve list. So they're willing to say, okay, anything on the reserve list, and then that's all safe. Anything that's not, we're going to reprint the hell out of it, and we're going to essentially become Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and try to appeal to a younger generation that is more internet based. They're more willing to play video games now than they are to go out and buy card games, and I can understand that. But they're also trying to, I guess, pander to a lot of the kids that are also into Pokemon too, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the Masterpiece series, awfully familiar. Seems a lot like what Pokemon cards look like. Extremely shiny, like way too shiny. Why do they feel the need to do that now? They're doing it almost every set. They skipped the Shadows block for some reason, but now we got another one in Amonkhet, and we're probably going to get another one soon. And I think the inventions, no, not the inventions, the invocations or something for Amonkhet, they're not doing that well. I think Force of Will is the only one that's actually anything significantly pricey. The rest are kind of meh overall. And the next step for the Masterpiece series is obviously for them to do some bullshit like Planeswalkers, something that takes very little effort but can sell a set easily, because you know what younger players like more than Planeswalkers? They like the shiniest Planeswalkers, the ones that are, they're all flare, they're expensive, and ooh, look at me, he got a shiny Jace, the Mind Sculptor, or something like that, which they already have one, I think from the vault, or was it from the vault? It was some event or something like that, but it's an extremely shiny Jace, and a lot of people like foil cards, so no doubt in my mind the Masterpiece series is probably going to go into Planeswalkers. And honestly, if Magic becomes Pokemon, I don't know if I'm going to continue to play this game. Even, especially Yu-Gi-Oh, because they reprint the living hell out of cards. We're talking like 40 fucking reprints for Mystical Space Typhoon. And people complain about like only a few reprints for some card. That's a good thing. Your cards are worth something. I mean, I'm really going to be frustrated if they try to become Pokemon, they try to become Yu-Gi-Oh just to appeal to a younger generation that doesn't have more than $20 in their fucking wallet. I mean, please. And I think the fact that Hasbro now, running things for Wizards, and they have HasCon events they're doing now for Iconic Masters, pretty much proves that they're trying to appeal to younger people now. So I don't know if that's a good thing. Some people might think it's a good thing. I'll let you guys decide. But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe. And I'm going to try to do more of these videos with Left 4 Dead 2 in the background. Just started playing that. But anyway, thank you.